Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Tommy Tutu, and today is July 1st, 2023. So hiking season has officially ended here in Southern California. It is 95 degrees here today, so no more hiking. We did have an extra cool spring this year. It actually snowed here in places where it doesn't usually snow, and we had a lot of rain, so the month of June was actually cooler than it normally is here in Southern California, so I got to enjoy an extra month of hiking. So that was really good. I did a total of 20 different trails in 14 different cities. So I'm really proud of myself. 2023 was the best year of hiking for me. And with that, I wanted to share with you my 10 favorite trails of SoCal in 2023. So I'm gonna start actually with an honorable mention. So in my top 10 favorite trails, I can start with number 11. So here we go. Number 11, Joshua Tree National Park. So I wanted to give an honorable mention to Joshua Tree National Park. And it's not a bad area to go hiking. It's actually very beautiful. There's people from all across the nation there. You see all kinds of different license plates from different states in the park. The only reason why it didn't make the top 10 is because they do charge $30 to get in, and you could buy a year pass for $50. I opted for the year pass. I thought I would be visiting here multiple times. But it's an hour and a half drive away from my house, so the drive is extra exhausting, and just the cost of parking and the fact that it's really hot here, so you can't come in the summer, or well, when the weather starts heating up, like right now today, I can't go there. It's way too hot. It's almost 100 there today, so that's why it gets an honorable mention. It's still a wonderful place to go hiking. Okay, so that was Joshua Tree. Number 10 on my list of top 10 favorite hiking trails is the Santa Rosa Ecological Preserve near Murrieta, California. So the Santa Rosa Plateau Ecological Preserve near Murrieta, California, it was a decent trail. It wasn't too spectacular, but the highlight is right here, the vernal pools, where it's like a little swamp. And there are a lot of frogs in this area too. As you're walking towards the swamp, there's frogs jumping out of the trail away from you. I would say this is an easy trail. There's not a whole lot of up and down hill, and there is this location, these old houses are over 150 years old on the end of one of the trails. That was a pretty interesting sight to see. But one thing you do got to be careful for in this trail is that there is poison oak, so you got to watch out for that. But otherwise, it was a very decent trail. This one I will be going back to again next year, and yeah, so I really enjoyed it, and hope you get to enjoy it too. Oh, it does cost $4 to get in though, so that's not too much, but yeah, great trail. Okay, so that was the Santa Rosa Plateau. Number 9 on my list of favorite trails in Southern California is Silverwood Lake in Hesperia, California. So Silverwood Lake is located near Hesperia, California. It's a trail, well, it's a recreational area with some hiking trails and bike trails. When I went there the first time, it was in April, and they charged me $10 to get in, and then in May they charged me $20 to get in. So I don't know how their pricing structure works, but it wasn't too steep of a fee for what you get. So the trail, it's a very scenic drive to get there, and you have the view of the lake the whole time. And there was also lots of wildflowers there. I would say this was actually a very easy trail. A lot of people could do it, especially the paved section. So yeah, this is definitely one that you could take the whole family to, no matter what their abilities are. So yeah, that was a great little hike to go on. Okay, so that was Silverwood Lake. Number 8 on my favorite trails of Southern California for 2023 is Big Morongo Canyon Preserve in Morongo Valley, California. Big Morongo Canyon Preserve in Morongo Valley, California is one of my favorite hiking trails. This is one I come back to often, and the reason why is because it has this boardwalk. It's a little more than half a mile long, but it allows people of all abilities to be able to enjoy this hike. So you could literally push a wheelchair over the boardwalk. It's very well maintained. There's hardly any cracks in it. There's picnic tables at the entrance, and of course, something I always look for every time, there are restrooms at the entrance. So yeah, you could take people with all abilities. And if you're like me and you want to take a more challenging trail, there are places you could go, side trails like this one you see here, where it's more challenging, more up and down hill. And yeah, but overall, this is a great trail. I'd say it's easy, and you can take your grandma to the flat section, to the picnic tables, and if you are more adventurous, you could go on these side trails up and down the mountains. And also, I went early spring, and there were quite a few wildflowers there, so it's a really nice hike, very beautiful, and there's a reason why I keep coming back to this one over and over again. So yeah, that's Big Morongo Canyon Preserve. Okay, so that was Big Morongo Canyon Preserve. Number 7 on my top 10 favorite hiking trails of 2023 is the Heart Rock Trail in Crestline, California. So Heart Rock Trail is located in the beautiful city of Crestline, California. I would say this is more of a medium trail than an easy one. The one entrance, it's all paved and flat. That part is easy, but closer to the creek, it's up and down hill, and that part's more difficult. This trail I personally would not take children to. It is a little dangerous in some areas. There are some areas, especially the view by the Heart Rock, where you could fall possibly to your death. So this is one I wouldn't feel comfortable taking children to. And you could also, if you like rock climbing like me, you could climb down some of the rocks and get into more bumpy terrain. So it is more on the medium side. It's not easy, but the reward at the end, it's this Heart Rock with a waterfall right next to it, and it's quite a view to see. So yeah, it's one of the more beautiful trails in Southern California. All right, so that was Heart Rock Trail. Number 6 on my top 10 favorite trails is Big Falls Trail in Forest Falls, California. So Big Falls Trail takes you to the tallest waterfall in Southern California. This place does get snowed in, so I had to come here twice because the first time I couldn't get in. The river's running extra big this year because of all the snow and rain we had. It's a very beautiful trail. It's less than a mile to the waterfalls, but you could also walk along the creek if you want to extend your trip longer. You do gotta be careful though. There are bears here, and I did personally come across mountain lion tracks, but otherwise, just be careful. I'd say it's a medium trail. There's a lot of rock scrambling. It's not very easy, but yeah, it's very beautiful. The reward at the end is very nice. Okay, so that was Big Falls Trail in Forest Falls, California. Next, number 5 on my top 10 favorite trails is the Santa Margarita River in Fallbrook, California. So the Santa Margarita River Trail is located in Fallbrook, California. When I think about the 2023 hiking season, for some reason, this is the trail that pops up in my mind the most. I guess you could say this was the defining trail of the season. It was just so beautiful with this big river flowing through it. You can cross the river, but because of all the rain we had this year, the river was really wide and too dangerous to cross. I did see people crossing it on horseback, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was just absolutely beautiful, so pristine and peaceful. I loved this trail. I do have a couple of complaints. Well, first of all, there's poison oak here, so you gotta look out for that. There were a lot of bugs when I went, and unfortunately, there were a lot of people who don't clean up after their dogs. So there were a lot of dog droppings on the trail, unfortunately. But if you could overlook those 3 things, this was an absolutely amazing trail. I'd say it was more on the easy side than medium. And if you take some of the side trails, you have some incredible views, lots of wildflowers. And yeah, this is one I definitely plan to come back to next year. So that's a Santa Margarita River Trail in Fallbrook, California. Okay, so that was the Santa Margarita River Trail in Fallbrook, California. I know that's a mouthful to say. Okay, so number 4 and number 3 were really hard for me to decide. These two, I could have gone either way with these two. So this is a tough decision to make. Number 4, I'm going to go ahead and say my 4th favorite trail in Southern California for 2023 was the Eagle Rock Trail in Warner Springs, California. So the Eagle Rock Trail is located in Warner Springs, California. It is a 6-mile long trail that you're rewarded at the end with a giant rock that's shaped like an eagle. I mean, it has wings and a beak. It's very incredible. It's something amazing to see. It's also along the Pacific Crest Trail. So I arrived early in the morning to this trail, and it was cold. Everything was covered in frost. It was the coldest trail I've ever done. I mean, I had to wear gloves. It was freezing here when I got here. But yeah, so this trail, like I said, 6 miles long. It's more on the easy side. The first mile and a half, it's like a forest area, and you're walking along the creek the whole time. It's very cool. And then when you get to this section, the middle section, it's like a desert. And then when you get through the desert section, you go up the final mile. It's like wide open plains. There's wild cows here. So it's like 3 different ecosystems here. This trail just really captured my imagination. And the 6 miles, it doesn't even feel like it's 6 miles. It goes by so fast. But yeah, very beautiful. And the only uphill is at the end because the Eagle Rock, as you can see here, it's up on a mound. But there it is. It's a gigantic rock. It's shaped like an eagle. You could climb on top of it. Yeah, and when you get there, there's people walking the Pacific Crest Trail that are meeting up at this area, taking photos. It's very nice. It's something you just have to see this trail to believe it. And yeah, there's a reason why it's this high on my list. It was an amazing trail, and I will be back next year. Okay, so that was the Eagle Rock Trail in Warner Springs, California. Number 3 on my top 10 favorite hiking trails of California is the Portuguese Point Trail Bend in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. So unfortunately, I lost my video on this trail, so I only have photos to share of it. So this is the Portuguese Point Bend Trail in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. It cost, they charge the parking's by the hour, so I only paid $7 for the time I was here. I would say it's more on the easy medium side. There is an incline, but it's so gradual that you don't even notice it. There are parts where you have to walk along the rocks and the beach. That part can be a little difficult, a little rough on your feet. But this place was just absolutely beautiful, especially during the springtime. There were so many wildflowers. There were like beach trails, flower trails, rocky trails. You have the rolling hills with you see all the yellow from the mustard plants in there. It was just one of the most beautiful trails, and the ocean waves crashing. This is one I definitely have to come back to next year. Yeah, there were just fields of flowers everywhere. It's just so diverse for a beach area. I don't know how else to describe it except that it was just absolutely incredible. So yeah, that was Portuguese Point Bend in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. Okay, so that was the Portuguese Point Bend. And number 1 and number 2 were really difficult for me to decide between which of the 2 were my favorite. Very difficult decision here. Both of them, either one could have been my top favorite trail. So I'm gonna have to go and say number 2 will be the Devil's Punch Bowl in Pear Blossom, California. So the Devil's Punch Bowl is where 2 earthquake faults meet, and they force these plates out of the ground. They're like no other rock formation you've ever seen, and you could climb on top of them. It's a really fascinating sight to see. It also gets completely covered in wildflowers here during the springtime, usually a little later, like April or May. There's also a creek at the bottom. It's very soothing, and there's just so much diversity here. You wouldn't believe it. Some of the dirt turns like completely green, which I'm guessing it's probably copper in the soil. There's a lot of mountain structures around here. It's not like any place you've ever seen before. This is one you absolutely, if you've never been here, you absolutely have to go here. There is a second path. So first there's the Devil's Punch Bowl, which is the canyon. And then there's this one called the Devil's Chair. This course is difficult. I would say, when it comes to easy, medium, hard, this one is hard. You end up at this cage on the end of a cliff. It had a really incredible view, but it is a very difficult trail. This one almost killed me when I did it. It's about 7 miles long. You could just do the Punch Bowl itself, which is only about a mile long, but it's up and down hill. That one I'd say a little more medium hard, but Yeah, this is definitely up there in the difficulty. I thought I'd never do this one ever again because of how hard it is, but next year I'm thinking I might give it another shot. Um, so yeah, that's the Devil's Chair right here. Again, totally worth it, but 7 to 8 miles up and downhill, very difficult. You gotta cross creeks. Um, yeah, so but all in all, this is just like no place you've ever seen in your life. And when you get to the top here, this is called the Devil's Chair right here that we're in. You have this unbelievable view. It's just completely breathtaking. You have to see it to believe it. And that's why this is number 2 in my top 10 favorite trails of Southern California. All right, so that was the Devil's Punch Bowl paired with the Devil's Chair in Pear Blossom, California. My number 1 favorite hiking trail of 2023 in Southern California is Mission Creek Preserve in Desert Hot Springs, California. So if you've watched YouTube videos of Mission Creek Preserve, you might be a little confused. You might say to yourself, well, there's nothing special about this trail. Why would this be number 1 trail on someone who's hiked so many trails? And here's why. The wildflowers. If you come here in late March, middle of April, this place is completely covered in flowers. It is like something straight out of a fairy tale. The whole ground is just covered in yellow and purple, and you also have these here, which are called it's called a dude ranch, which are these structures. They have picnic tables in them. There's a giant chimney here. It is just an incredible place to see. It's got a big creek running through it too. The downside is that you do have to drive on a 2-mile long washboard dirt road to get here. That's the only downside. But other than that, this place is absolutely beautiful, but you have to experience it in late March, middle of April. Otherwise, you won't understand why this place is incredible. The flowers here are just like nothing you've ever seen in your life. I can't get over how incredible all the wildflowers here are. And yeah, it's beautiful. It's peaceful. You got the creek you go through. There's parts of the trails where you could cross the creek. There's a campground in the middle with picnic tables, a building that you could picnic in. Man, this place is just absolutely incredible. I don't know how else to describe it. And it is more on the easy side. It's actually one of the easiest trails. There's no inclines. There's no rock scrambling. It's easy. It's beautiful. You have the mountains covered in snow in the background, wildflowers everywhere. I mean, this trail has got everything. And that's why it's number 1 on my list of the top 10 hiking trails in Southern California for the year 2023. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that was it. My top 10 favorite trails of Southern California in 2023. And again, these are just the trails that I've been on this year that are my personal favorites. I'm really hoping there's a lot of hidden gems out there that I haven't discovered yet that I will discover for the 2024 season. But as of right now, that's it for this year. I'm really looking forward to next spring when the weather cools down again and we can go hiking again, and hopefully we'll do, well, maybe more than 20 next year. Who knows? We'll see. So thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this inspired some of you to get out there next year and start hiking some of these beautiful, magnificent trails. And I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you, and God bless you all.